We got brother Ethan Stueve with us today. He received his degree in electrical engineering from Kansas State University. Go Cats.
Yes, sir.
He felt the call to continue to serve on the college campus as a missionary with focus. Where have we heard that before? Maybe last week's episode. He spent 3 years at University of Tulsa leading Bible studies and witnessing powerful transformations. I'm looking forward to talking about that. He met his wife in Oklahoma, and they got married shortly after. That's interesting. He met his wife in Oklahoma, then they got married. No, I'm just kidding. You get that. Then he transitioned out of mission work. Since then, they've had 2 boys. God bless you. He worked in commercial real estate, pro-life fundraising. Good on you. And digital marketing, which is where he thinks he belongs now. This whole time, he's run a Catholic comedy podcast with his buddy Patrick, which I think they recently renamed. It's got a pretty cool name. Talk about that in a second. They've recorded a lot longer than us, 9 years, and have 1.5 million downloads.
Wow.
But most importantly, Ethan said that if this were a masterclass, this episode, it would be titled How to Build or Find Catholic Community. So welcome to Modern Catholic Family, Ethan. Tell us about that title.
It's good to be here, Jim and Megan. It's a great bio. It's hard to listen to the
You
things that
wrote
you've
it, man.
done. I know. But you think about all these things like, did I really? Was that me? I struggled cleaning up the dishes yesterday. So this is it's nice to hear about all those things. I think Catholic community has been a core part of my life since I started taking my faith seriously. It manifested, at the very beginning in high school. You go to youth group and you start to realize, okay, this thing that I was raised to believe, I'm not like the only person that believes in that thing. There's other people my age, 14, 15, 16 years old, and you go to conferences together, and that's really fun, but it's very adolescent, right? It's just you're looking for a tribe when you're that age. That's where I fit in. Yeah. And then in college, it changes slightly. And the options increase greatly because you're living on your own. You can have Pop-Tarts for dinner and you do whatever you want. I found myself kind of joining a fraternity, getting really involved on campus, kind of fading away a little bit, but then coming back around my junior and senior year which you've heard about, the Kansas State University Catholic Student Center. St. Isidore is one of the greatest, probably the greatest Catholic student centers in the country. It just built a big, beautiful new church. The priest there is Father Gail Hammerschmidt, is an amazing pastor and leader of the students. Yeah. And the community there was at the next level up, right? It's, you can have your fun and your fellowship and your friendship, but there's also a depth here. There's coming to pray the rosary in between classes was a huge change in me internally. And I could see that the things that were happening around me on the campus, not just the standard like drinking and underage sexual intercourse and the other things that were going on the campus, but the materialism and the seeking after money and the seeking after things, the communism and the political, all that stuff was like, okay, there's some forces here at play that need to be rectified. And so when I was a focused missionary at Tulsa, very different from K-State. Nothing against the University of Tulsa, but K-State's a big state school. There's 24,000 students, big new church. A fifth of the students at the campus are Catholic. So it was the biggest, in some way, it's the biggest Catholic school in the state, even though that, you've got Benedictine University or Benedictine College and some other schools there that say that they're, but K-State's huge, right? Yeah. So you go to Tulsa, it's 4,000 students. Most of them are international. So there's tons of people that are coming from the Middle East to study petroleum engineering. It's just a completely different vibe. Yeah. Not at all what I was used to. And so that gets into, okay, now you have to start to build Catholic community. And I started to learn that post-college. Yeah. And that that looked a lot like going up to strangers and asking them, hey, do you have any friends? And then want to be mine? And then saying either yes or no. And regardless of the answer, saying, well, I'm looking for some friends. Would you like to, spend time with me? And doing that over 3 years, and the pandemic happened right during that time, which was a unique opportunity for us because we were the only Christian group that was out on campus during that year because everyone else was a little bit too afraid, I guess I could say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that otherwise would have fallen through the cracks that we were able to build up. I think our Bible study percentage, like the number of students that we had, increased by 4x from when I started to when I finished my time there.
Wow.
And I think that was because of a commitment to building that community and going outside of the Newman Center. So I had found in college and in high school this, like, okay, I'm in here and I joined it and I've been a part of it. But then at a certain point, you got to go out and you got to start inviting people in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I appreciate you letting me go on this story because there's lots of different phases that are a part of this. So
It's good, man. You're the guest.
so we go through that, and then you get to, all right, so now I'm out of the college campus world, right? It's not as easy to just go out because when you're at the college campus, it's so simple to just walk outside and there's people that are willing to dialogue with you everywhere. And there's always something going on. There's always something to invite somebody to. There's always a reason to hang out and pop a keg open because why? It's Tuesday. Come on over. Oh, his dog just got a haircut. Let's have a party. Come on over. So there's always something going on. And then when you leave that environment and you're kind of 9 to 5, I guess you just fill out the TPS reports, but nobody's celebrating. It's a little bit different. So then you have to kind of find it through like your state of life with regards to family and marriage. And so learning how to do that in a city that I wasn't from, we lived in Oklahoma City. And it's kind of like, okay, so we had started to build this group of other people that had 0 to 1 kids and they were married. And we started to learn, okay, everybody's like 45 minutes away in some direction. And I'm sure you guys can emphasize with this.
Yeah.
Is the, if we want to get everyone together, it's like a once a year thing where everyone can clear their calendars to get to one person's house and it just became too much. So in October of 21, I got everybody together at my house. This is like 6 other couples. And I had made a PowerPoint. And I was like, we should all live next to each other. And I put up like all the different neighborhoods in the areas of town. And I was like, here's the average home price. Here's how long it would take us to all move into this neighborhood, on average based on home sale velocity, all these different things. I had done all the math because I was in real estate at the time. And so I had access to all the data.
Were they taking you seriously?
They were 100%. Everybody knew what was going. This was not a surprise. This was like, everybody come to my house. I'm going to give you a PowerPoint presentation about the next phase of our
relocation intervention.
Yes, 100%.
Wow. That must have been an interesting Evite.
It was. We have a picture of it. There's a Polaroid of it on our fridge. And so this was like the next evolution. So on the college campus, you're trying to build it and you just kind of can walk. It's a walkable community. You can go and invite people. It's much harder to build it from scratch because it involves the moving of hundreds of thousands of dollars into mortgages and moving families and changing lifestyles. Like it's a much bigger ask in some ways, which is why it doesn't happen all that often in the post-college world. And so many people lament this, rightfully so. And so we ended up, one of the people there, her dad was a builder. And he had some lots that he could give us for very cheap, and he gave us great deals on new houses. 2 of us decided to do that, and a third family had already lived down the street. So there was 3 families kind of in this one area, and out of the other 6 or 7 families, everybody kind of filtered out and either moved away or stayed in the area. So and I don't live in Oklahoma City now. Now I live in Wichita. So the question is like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
And I think trying to create something like that non-organically, not centered on a parish community, it's good. I'm glad that we tried. Beautiful relationships with those people that, godparents of each other's kids, still talk to them, no ill will, but we were far away from my family. As you have more kids, that starts to become a bigger deal. We weren't super close to a parish. We weren't super close to really anything, 20 minutes still to get anywhere, 30 minutes to get anywhere. And that starts to weigh on you if that's not how you grew up. If that's not like what your fabric is for life. And so now this is kind of the next stage, right? I'm in Wichita. There's a beautiful neighborhood just right across the street over here. I can see it out my window that we're moving into. And at the middle of this neighborhood is a parish. And surrounding this parish are 100-year-old homes that are filled almost entirely by Catholic families or liberals with transgender pride flags outside of their homes. That's kind of one of those. It is. It's like Mary statue, pride flag, Mary statue, pride flag. It's like the war of the neighborhood. But I think the Catholics are winning, if I'm being honest. And so there's lots of, and families walk to mass. There's homeschool groups. It's much more rich and complete in terms of its community because it's intergenerational. You've got the old moms helping out with the preschool and the middle-aged moms helping out with the homeschool because their kids are older and the older kids are babysitting the younger kids and the new families are coming in and getting brought up to speed.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like the thing that was missing in Oklahoma. But we tried to build. I did this PowerPoint. I tried to convince my friends to, let's build this. It's not a commune, but as close as we can get to a commune. And it wasn't quite right. And I think everybody felt that. And this feels, even though we're kind of back to where I started, where I'm stepping into something that already exists.
Yeah.
I now feel like I have a role or I have a place. It's kind of like in a company. You run a company, Jim. So, like when you hire someone in, you got to give them a role where they can excel, where they can contribute, where they can make the place better. And then they can move up and they can teach somebody to do the same thing underneath them. And that's how it grows and everybody benefits, ideally.
Yeah.
And it feels like that here where I can step in and I can already see my lane. I can see the things that I care about that maybe some of the other parishioners don't care about. I can see where there's men's group needs. I can see where there's, parent and family needs, where there's maybe mission and like Bible study, like things that we need to educate and form the parishioners. And how can I step into that?
Yeah.
And where can I receive? What are things that are going on that I can, benefit from? So to me, it's like this complete, it's taken me, I don't know when did this start? So when I was like 14 and I'm 29 now. So 15 years of different versions of Catholic community that I've either received or have had a hand in building have kind of led up to this point. And now we're under contract on a house to move into the neighborhood. And it's a 100-year-old house. And there's a lot of red on the inspection report. There's a lot of bad things that we're going to have to deal with. But that's what everybody's chosen. So there's all these people that have now chosen this like pain and monetary risk to have this thing, which is so good for children. It's so good for the wives that stay home. It's good for the wives that work. It's good for the husband. It's good for everybody because of that richness. And I think there's a model here, or there's something about this. It's not going to be like this everywhere because not everyone ever has the geography to do this exact thing, right? Yeah. Cities are built differently all over the country. But that spirit and that energy, I think, can be recreated if people take it seriously. Someone's calling me. State Farm home insurance policy. I don't care about that right now.
Stinking insurance.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we don't talk about them.
Do not disturb. So that's what is my masterclass. Is there's all these different aspects of community that I've had experience with, and I'm happy to go into any more of them in detail based on what you guys want to talk about. But I think there's so much that is yet to be uncovered. Actually, let me just say this. There's so much that we've lost in terms of how communities ought to live together because we've been so isolated, so independent, so individualistic in our little, as long as I have a Starbucks within 5 minutes and a Netflix account, I'm good. Yeah. And that's just not how we were made to live. We're made to be connected to our homes. Things are supposed to go wrong. Things are supposed to break, and you're supposed to need to ask for help when that happens.
Yeah.
And I think moving towards that in some way is probably better for everybody, regardless of what stage of life you're at. So that's my masterclass. I'll leave it to you.
I think you win for the best intro.
An explanation of your title.
When I've asked, no, but seriously, and I know Meg had something she wanted to say, but I'll just start by saying it strikes me as just absolutely beautiful that you literally found community again once you centered your life around Christ, the parish in that town.
Yes.
Right. That is not lost on me. And that when you try to do it on your own, I mean, there's like so many, it's like a story, right? Literally, like you try to do it on your own and didn't have that at the center. Now he is at the center of the town. It's not that he hasn't been the center of your life ever, right. But certainly
it's much harder to do it when you don't have, I mean, it's without the church, in some ways, because it's me and like a couple of other families that are about my age do not make up the church, do not like constitute a significant portion of the body of Christ. It's it's like this small strata of people that we try to like select ourselves out. And I think because of that, we could feel the tension and we could feel that it was maybe not the best. I'm so thankful for the experience, and I think it was really good, but I think it led us all, closer to where the Lord wanted us to be. So
yeah, absolutely.
What's so interesting to me in what you're describing, and believe me, like the beauty of what you're describing is not lost on me. I'm from New England. And
wonderful.
You're literally describing a New England town to me.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I mean, you're describing like my childhood. And I loved my childhood. I loved where I grew up. I was surrounded by family, but it was a small New England town. It was 100-year-old home. It needed a ton of work. We literally had bats that got into the inside of the house and would literally fly around in the middle of the summer. And we had to catch them and release them in the middle of the night.
That's amazing.
But the church, to your point, is often of those New England towns is the center point. And it was very intentional the way that towns were built once you got away from the water, when the water wasn't, sort of the center point.
Yeah.
And then the church became the center point of the town, and
the living
communities
water
grew from there. And you walked to everything, and you had babysitters, and you had, you're right, the moms, helping each other out after school to soccer practice. And then the grandmother who would make dinner for you if you were sick. It's just, I hate to say the model, but the model works, and the model fosters community, and it fosters, communication with one another. And
I'll never forget the first time I visited her. We met at Boston College, and one weekend we went home to her house in Rhode Island, and like we were sitting there on the porch just chatting, and all of a sudden this postal worker on foot walks.
We were actually in a restaurant.
Oh, I swear I thought we were at your house. Well, wherever we were at a restaurant, not even at our house. And he walks by and he goes, "Meg, hey, how you doing? Welcome back. It's good to see you again." I was like, is this for real?
Am I in a Hallmark movie right now?
Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this an episode of Gilmore Girls that I've just stepped into?
Literally. And I basically was like, "Oh, hey, Steve, just home for the weekend."
What is happening right now?
But I understand that yearning for it, because it is kind of something magical. And not only that small community, but then you put the church back at the center of it all.
Yes.
Yeah. And, we now live in Atlanta, and that type of a community isn't really necessarily at our fingertips.
Right.
But then the church community becomes that for you.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the fact that we interviewed one of our parish priests earlier today, and God bless him, he stayed for a few minutes extra because Meg said, "Hey, while you're here, can you bless our house?"
Let's go.
I mean,
it was like, and he blessed the studio. So
yes,
we are good to go.
Come on.
Tell me, when you guys moved back to Wichita, and so you're looking for Catholic community, and you're trying to build community. So now you've done several steps in life at this point, and I would imagine that now you're thinking about your family, now your children, and the community you want to build with them. Was it hard to sort of narrow in on either a parish that you wanted to focus on, or a neighborhood community that maybe was close to a certain parish? How did you funnel your decision making?
It was really natural in a lot of ways, and definitely guided by the Holy Spirit, because some people that I went to school with at Kansas State University, I went to a wedding like 2 years ago. And okay, there's two things. So we had some friends who were focused missionaries in Oklahoma City. They were from here. They're like from this neighborhood. They grew up here. They moved back, and we were very sad to see them go. But that was the first time I heard about this neighborhood, was my friends from Oklahoma City moving here. Second thing that happened is I went to this wedding, and I see my buddy, Joe. Joe is the funniest guy I know. He's like 6'10".
Don't tell
Patrick.
His body is lanky beyond, like you can't, the angles that this man can produce with his limbs is unlike anything I've ever seen. But he worked for Apple. He's a very bright programmer, right? And so I just love this guy, but I hadn't seen him since college because he moved to California. So I'm like, "What are you doing here? It's just so good to see you at this wedding. Where are you living now?" He goes, "We actually live in Wichita." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we live in College Hill." I said, "What?" isn't that where Lexi and Dylan moved? And they're like, yeah, you know Lexi and Dylan. Of course I know Lexi and Dylan. They're from. And so that kind of started something ticking in my head because my mom's from Wichita. I grew up in Kansas. I went to K-State. So I was like, okay, so there's a couple of connections there, and I had known that the community was maybe, I didn't know how long-term it was going to be in Oklahoma. So that started, and then that was probably like a year and a half after that of just thinking, talking to the wife, praying. And then it really got more serious at the beginning of this year where we really knew, okay, if this is something that we want to do, let's not wait till our kids are 5, 6, or 7. Let's do it. I mean, our oldest is almost 3, 2.5, he'll be 3 in November. So it's like, he's probably not going to be affected too much if we just go ahead and do it now. And that was kind of the main consideration. And we knew that the parish was great. And we knew that we visited probably 3 or 4 times. Like it was like going on college visits, or like rushing a sorority or something. Like we went and we came and we would go to donuts afterwards and we just would meet people. We talked to, hey, nice to meet you. We're thinking about moving here. Can you tell us a little bit about and the person that, or this house that we're renting currently, we met through someone that we met at the donuts, and the person, they were moving out, and they did. So we got the housing that we got and the timing that we got because of it just felt like all very orchestrated, and it made a lot of sense at the end of the day. And so, we certainly thought about maybe some other places in Wichita, but when it came down to it, the neighborhood, the walkability, the architecture of the old homes, the friendships in the community that I already had pre-existing, the family life with all the kids, the homeschool opportunity, everything just kind of lined up and made a lot for us. So yeah, awesome. I hope that answers your question. It's probably more than you bargained for.
Absolutely. Can we jump back a few years and talk about your experience a little bit at Kansas State? Because
yes,
we're blown away
for
by
people
what we just learned.
For people who actually listen to us regularly, they would know that that prior to this, the episode prior to this, we interviewed 2 sisters who are Kansas State students. And let me tell you, these ladies are on fire for their religion. I mean, it gives me such hope in the college age group of kids coming through right now to see their passion.
Yeah.
And one of them is a focus missionary, which you mentioned as well. Tell us about your experience and what your time there did for you and your faith. And what are they doing right that other college campuses need to mimic?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Man, I don't know. How long do we have?
This should be its own episode.
I know. I'm such a diehard homer for K-State. I think it's one of the greatest. I get into arguments frequently. The guy that I office with, he went to Benedictine. And so he's always saying, you got to send your kids to a Newman Guide University if you want them to have any chance of being faithful when they grow up. And I'm like, you just haven't experienced what I've experienced at St. Isadore's. So I think it all starts with the daily mass, which when I was a freshman, it was at 10 p.m., which was a little bit late, I think. And then by the time I was a junior, it had rolled back to 9 p.m., which I think is a much more reasonable time, even for college kids.
Yeah.
And I think the key of it is that it just became an assumed thing that people would go at least once a week to the evening mass at St. Isidore's. And so you'd see people throughout the day, and then it could be very casual. It was, hey, am I going to see you at daily mass tonight? And it wasn't like a weird insulting or like you're a bad Catholic if you're going, or if you're not going, or you're super into it if you are going. It's just, hey, a lot of us get together every single day to do this. Would you like to come with us for one out of the 5 days that it's offered?
Yeah.
And then when you compare that to like the Protestant ministries on campus, nothing against them, they meet once a week. Yeah. So maybe you can't go on Wednesday, which is when Christian Challenges or Stumo is, but you could come on Monday, you can come on Tuesday, you can come on Wednesday, you can come on Thursday, you go on Friday. I mean, there's tons of options, which is true, I think, at a lot of other, universities. I think the charism and the character of the Newman Center itself, or the Student Center itself, is what makes it different. So the intentionality from the very first weekend that you're there. I mean, the freshman retreat when I first went, a lot changed in my 4 years, which is kind of why I'm like talking about my freshman year versus my senior year, because everything changed between those 4 years. There's a big change in pastoral leadership, change in bishop, different things happen. So when I was a freshman, it was like 10 awkward dudes in like hoodies in the middle of August, the type. And they're talking about weird things, and like 3 or 4 girls that are from like super small towns in Kansas, and everyone's just kind of like holding onto their lemonade, like not sure what to do or how to speak to each other. And I think just the organic growth of something like the freshman retreat grew to the point where now it's 300, 400 people.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Like most of them, a lot of them in Greek life, a lot of them involved in athletics, a lot of them involved in other things on campus. It's not just I think the trap that a lot of student centers fall into is that it becomes a very inside baseball. We protect our thing, and if other people come in, it will change.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about St. Isidore's is as they've grown and as they've been open to growth, this is a home for everybody. This is a home for athletes. This is a home for sorority girls. This is a home for fraternity men. This is a home for engineering students. This is a home for veterinarians. This is a home for permanent community members. Anybody can come here and find Jesus. And I don't think people are intentionally, restricting it at other places. I think they're doing their best. But I think on accident, with the events that they choose to run, with the people that they choose to lead those events, with the way that they talk about them, I think a lot of that results in, it's like a selection bias almost, like that you kind of get the type of people that you put on events for and nobody else.
Yeah.
And I think St. Isidore's kind of mastered that. Anybody can be here and anybody can have a good time, and everybody will encounter Christ, because there is something for you here, regardless of who you are.
That's cool.
It's such a powerful experience to see it now.
I'm shocked that this is happening at a state school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How did that come to be?
I think because Kansas is so Catholic,
Yeah.
especially the western parts of the state, a lot of the people that lived here, like my family, are all German immigrant farmers. And Catholicism is just kind of in the water, and that's true for a lot of people, that kind of that farmer culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's not a ton of, there's certainly people who aren't Catholic, and that's, perfectly understandable. But I think it's more cultural here, not in the way that it's cultural in like New York,
Yeah.
or like that type of thing. But it's a different type of cultural thing where you can meet somebody who wears boots and jeans every single day and say, hey, we like need somebody to help set up the thing. And they're there at 5 a.m. and they don't complain, and they have their hat. They wear the same hat every day. It's like that type of guy. Those guys are almost like the backbone, in a weird way. And that culture permeates throughout, I think, the university, because it is an agriculture school. It's a land grant university. It is a public school, but it's got that, it's in Kansas, you know what I mean? Like, who's going to, unless you really love this place and love the idea of what a place like that stands for, you go to KU if you wanted something, a little bit more metropolitan.
Yeah.
And what a great place, talking about building your community, what a great place to go to learn on your own for the first time, away from mom and dad or extended family or wherever you're coming from. What a great place to learn how to build your Catholic community.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Because you had to fight for it. When I was there, it was not what it is now. Now, like when my brother was there, it was blown up. Now it's kind of, it's got a life of its own, and it's rolling, but we had to fight tooth and nail for every single person that came when I was a student there. And even I wasn't around for like the first year and a half, because I thought I was better than it. I thought I was cooler than it.
You're not going to get me.
I know. And then there's a small story I'll share. Maybe it can wrap up, this part of the conversation. But when we were the Focus conference, the Seek conference, I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Seek conference, but in 2017, it was in San Antonio. We didn't have any Focus missionaries on campus in 2017. We didn't get Focus until my senior year, which is just a crazy thing. So Focus was not there in 2017. So it was me, my friend Tracy, who was actually the wedding that I was referencing earlier. It was her wedding. My friend Tracy, and a smattering of other people. My buddy Josh, who I play basketball with at the YMCA every Tuesday and Thursday now. it was us and maybe 5 to 10 other people. We were like, okay, we need to get as many people to Seek as possible. So we raised money for buses. We stood outside of masses on the weekends. We made posters. We, did everything because we weren't really allowed to promote it because the priest didn't really want to promote it because it wasn't an official Catholic Student Center event, that type of attitude.
Yeah.
And so we had to do everything. It was all grassroots. We ended up taking, I think, 175 students to that conference, which for that year, the only schools that had more than us were Benedictine, Texas A&M, and Nebraska Lincoln.
Wow.
And we had no missionaries on campus. So to me, and then we got focused the very next year, which I think makes a lot of sense. But that I think is indicative of the student body there is hungry for something, and they were looking for somewhere to put that energy, and they just didn't know where to put it. And so then I think finally when we figured out, okay, we're here, come here, and we'll give you what you're looking for. Then it exploded, and now you've got the ladies that you spoke with last week. That's the effect of that explosion happening. That's the effect of all this pent up energy finally having a place to go.
That's really cool to see kind of that timeline now.
Yeah,
and
it's
it makes
really
so
beautiful.
much sense why they're on fire.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Ethan, I want to pivot for a second and just talk about, we did steal you from your own podcast that you host to come join us today. I'd love to know a little bit more about what you're doing, what you have been doing for the last 9 years, because to me, it seems like, from a comedic standpoint in the Catholic world, you have created your own community. So community extends beyond physical walls and buildings. Share with our audience, because this is a show of abundance. I'm not like trying to, corner the market on. I don't pretend to think that this is going to blow up to be unbelievable, right? But I'm curious to know about your own podcast.
Well, thanks for asking. No podcast will ever eclipse the Modern Catholic Family Podcast. Let's just say that right now. Okay. So back in. You're making me dig back in the files. I've got I've got a little rat in my brain going through filing cabinets trying to pull out podcast history, and he's reading it to me, and then I'm speaking it out loud. So in 2014, I was a high school senior, and I knew that I wanted to do something on the internet for Catholicism because I cared a lot about it. And I went to a public high school. And I was really into. I was weird. I wore like shirts that glowed in the dark that said "Don't hate me because I'm Catholic." I was a weird kid. I was a very weird kid, awesome. And I would try to debate kids at lunch. Anyway, so I knew that I wanted to do something on the internet because I also really, I'm a Gen Z digital native, as they call it. Yeah. So Twitter at the time was kind of it was up and coming. It was bigger then at that point than Facebook was for my generation. So 2014, 2015, 2016, I'm like, okay, I want to do something on Twitter. So I started this anonymous Twitter account, which was very in vogue at the time. If you were a young person to have an anonymous Twitter account. And I just posted about the faith, and I garnered, several thousand followers, just my opinions and things that I would think, things that happen in the news. You talk about pro-life stuff, you talk about Catholicism, because this is peak Obama being the president, right? So this is like peak anti-Catholicism in the culture,
right?
Everything is shifting to kind of the craziness, that we experienced with DEI and in the media, all of that stuff. So it's like I'd be feeling that building, and you're trying to like process what to do with that as a young man, 18, 19 years old. So when I was a sophomore in college, I had been doing this Twitter thing for a while. I had, thousands of followers, but I'm like, it's nice. It's like cool to say that I do this, but it's not really doing anything. It's not translating to the real world. So that's about when podcasting started to tick up. Right. Yeah. So that summer, like 2016, I volunteered with my youth group back home, and my youth pastor, his name's Kyle Kuckelman. He's an amazing. You should have Kyle Kuckelman on your podcast. He's great. I like him a lot.
Make the intro.
But I don't know if he'd come on at all. He might hate talking about this stuff now. But he started a podcast with the associate pastor at the church that he worked at, and I listened to it, and I was like, "This stinks. Like I could do so much better than this." And I had started listening to other podcasts. I don't know if you know about Catching Foxes. That was a big one at the time back in the day. Luke Carey and Michael Gormley. Michael Gormley is a pretty big Catholic speaker. He's from Texas. So they had a podcast. So I was listening to them too. And I was thinking, okay, I like this medium. I don't understand it too much, but I like it.
Yeah.
And so I tweeted out, I said, does anyone want to start a podcast with me? And the first guy that responded was an anonymous account, Catholic Anon or something like that. He said, I'll do it with you. I DM him. I'm like, great, let's meet at this time. So that was actually Patrick Nevy, who's my co-host now.
Wow.
And our first ever conversation was our first ever podcast. We had never talked before then.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Wait, is he local? Was he local to you? Is he local to you, or is he?
He was at the time he was at the Franciscan University of Steubenville in Steubenville, Ohio, and I was in Manhattan, Kansas. And so I went to the library and I checked out a microphone from the library, and I had to do some like wonky thing with cables to try and be able to monitor myself and do the thing. So like there's delay on the first couple episodes. Yeah. It's all screwy, but we started it, and it instantly hit something that people were missing. And I think it was the fact that there was so much education and so much formation in the Catholic media world. To be honest, there still is a bit too much of that stuff, which is why we're still doing our podcast.
Yeah.
And I think people really liked that we were the young guy podcast for so long, because we were 19 years old and we were trying to be funny. Sometimes we were. But we also tried to have real. I mean, this is like a critical moment of your life. You're becoming the person you're going to be. So you can kind of, people were growing up with us in a lot of ways. And that led to a beautiful online community that still exists. So we've been doing a podcast every week for 9 years, since 2016. Our first episode was on September 11th, 2016. That was not intentional. That's just how it happened. Wow. But it's easy to remember when the first day was on 9/11. And we... so that's like over 500 some episodes now.
Wow.
And we've had ebbs and flows. We've certainly had periods where we were more popular and periods where we were less popular, which just changes based on, you have a kid, or you have, we both have had kids at the same time. Or when I was in Focus, I kind of took a step back and was doing more, I just record a podcast and then go back. I wasn't thinking about it too much. I completely deleted my Twitter account at one point. Really? And I had no social media for like a year or two. But we were still doing the podcast. So it's kind of been through all these things, but there's people who are in our community. I've got our Discord chat up on another tab, but there's people in it. We've got like 1,000 people in this community that talk to each other, that listen to the show, that like the show, that care about the types of things we talk about, because the beautiful thing about comedy is that you can find truth in things that are hard or difficult or sad or challenging or confusing, that maybe otherwise, if you were to ask, the same questions that we get on our show on like a more serious Catholic podcast, they just kind of rip off the catechism answer.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'd be on your way, which I don't think leaves a lot of room for the human element of things. Like a lot of times when people write in questions to us, usually we start off by making fun of them, because a lot of times these questions are, I'm a guy and I like 2 girls, and one of the girls I like way more than the other girl. And it seems like the one girl that I really like, she likes me back too. What should I do? And it's like, brother, come on. But I think you need to be able to have some levity about these things and say, like, you're taking this, dating or discernment or whatever the thing is that's keeping you up at night and troubling the innermost parts of your soul. It's not that serious, and we can find fun ways to joke about it and also give some real advice at the same time. And so I think that's why we've been able to keep a good community over the years, is we have that deep respect and love for church tradition, the love of the gospel. We're always trying to bring people to Christ and bring people closer to him. But at the same time, that doesn't change the fact that, there's a lot to laugh at out there. Sure. There's a lot more than some people think, and trying to find, fun and creative ways to share that with people, I think, is what has kept it going for so long.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I originally found you through, I think, LinkedIn, but no, I was listening. I know I was listening to one of your podcasts. You were talking about Candace Owens, who had just become Catholic, I think. And then I reached out to you to just tell you, like, great job in that episode. I didn't know you, but just want to let you know. And then I heard another one where you were talking about the infinite game, right?
Yeah.
And that was really good. I mean, it's deep, but also you guys made it funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can see how people would latch on to that because, like you said, we need some levity. Like
100%.
we need to laugh at ourselves. So,
yes. Not everything can be answered with a theological dissertation or a philosophical syllogism. You need people. This is a big issue, and this goes back to what you were talking about, Megan, about the community in Rhode Island. There's a human thing that's missing from a lot of our culture today.
Yeah.
Small, repeated, unplanned, informal interactions are like the backbone of societal friendships and connection.
Yeah.
The mailman, a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Or like you go to the same coffee shop every day and you see the barista and you get to know them. And now you have like a human connection with people and you can laugh and you can joke. But when everybody is kind of isolated and our whole world is the rectangle, then you don't get that. And podcasts are kind of an approximation of that in some sense.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to kind of treat it as like, okay, these people are coming to me to listen to me, and I need to give them as much human energy as I can. And I'm not like a robot that lectures. I'm like a guy that jokes and laughs and tells stories. And the more things that we can make human, the more that we can act human in the way that we ought to be. I think with community, with the way we build our cities, with the way we do our content, all of it, business, everything, I think is the lack. I don't think it's an intellectual lack or a spiritual lack. I think we're at the fundamental level, we're missing out what it means to be human in a lot of cases, and everything builds off of that. So it's true at every stage.
Yeah.
And you make it memorable too, right? I mean, if you just like earlier you said there are some places where you go and they can just give you the, catechism answer or whatnot. But
right.
Okay, tell me the catechism answer. And as soon as I walk through the door, I'm like, I know he gave me the answer. It sounded right. I'll take it.
But I'm back where I started.
Yes.
And I just know the answer now, but nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Really.
Exactly.
I can't apply it to my life as easily because there wasn't a story behind it. There wasn't something more tangible. I mean, for me, one of the most beautiful, I mean, I think we've only released like 25 episodes. This will be somewhere around episode 33, something like that, whatever. But so we're obviously very young in the podcasting space, and this is true with the insurance podcast that I had for a couple of years. The thing that I love about podcasting in terms of building community is, we batch record. So we have a bunch of episodes that are going to be released before this actually comes out, which is fun because then I get to text you, Ethan, randomly and say, hey man, your episode's coming out. And then we like strike up a conversation again. Some of these guests I've never actually I have to text them and be like, hey, it's Jim Schubert from Modern Catholic Family because they just gave their mobile number in the intake form. But then sometimes that has turned into a beautiful relationship. We're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, we're off camera now. We're actually talking. And we're going back and forth, and maybe we schedule a call and we get together. It's been that. That's why I want to ask you about your own podcast community, because it's just, you can build community in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
And to your point before about it's all about what it's centered around, right? Where you and your friends try to, create that, I don't want to call it forced community, but right, you were trying to create a community on your own. Then you created a community around, an established community that was already, built on parish life and in a church. And now you've got podcasts that's built around bringing people closer to Christ. There's no way that you couldn't create a wonderful community when you do that.
Yes. Yeah, I think there's a lot of power in these things of just being really good at the thing that we're placed into. Like you will probably like the marriage is the witness, right? So you don't have to necessarily be shouting from the rooftops John 3:16 every single day, but like your sacrifice for each other, as husband and wife is like that's the witness. It's like people see how the husband loves the wife, and it's like, oh, that's how Christ loves the church. And people see how the wife loves the husband. Oh, that's how the church is meant to love Christ. And that's evangelistic. And I think that extends in a lesser way, but still tangible to, how I do my job, how I raise my kids, I was talking to a comedian friend of mine. He was on the podcast last night. His name's James Donald Forbes McCann. He is a nationally touring comedian. He's wonderful.
Wow.
But he was talking about how he gets DMs all the time of people who are coming to mass again because of his comedy. And that makes him feel strange. And I'm like, that's not strange, because that's how people connect to the church. That's how people connect to Christ, is because they see your comedy is excellent and it's about things that are true. And because you're also a Catholic and you're not afraid to talk about that makes a connection in someone's brain that, like, I can just be a great accountant and I can go to church in the same way that he's a great comedian and he can go to church. You give people permission in a certain sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's because people don't see themselves in the theology professors. They can't make that same connection because it feels too lofty. It feels too far away.
Yeah.
But someone like me, someone who talks like me, someone who thinks like me, if they're doing it, why can't I?
Right.
So there's a real power there.
Well, I want to get to know you a little bit better through our rapid fire questions. You ready?
Of course.
For that?
Yes.
All right.
Lay it on me.
All right. Laying it on. What is one resource that you would recommend to Catholic families, whether online or offline, that you feel like they should know?
The Bropostles comedy podcast.
Tee that one up.
Oh, it's probably just going to be books. Can I just say books?
Yes.
Sure.
Is that okay? The Fulfillment of All Desire by Ralph Martin.
Yes.
Awesome.
Everyone should read that book. I don't know how rapid fire you want me to be. Everyone should read that book.
That was actually the next question, was what book would you recommend?
Okay, well, I've got a different one.
You can recommend multiple now.
Yeah, I've got a different one. So I think there's two more books. So there's one that's like overall for spiritual life, right? Fulfillment of All Desire is a great place to start. I think for families, there's two books: The Father of the Little Flower and The Mother of the Little Flower. You guys heard of these?
No.
So these are books written by Therese's sister. I think it was Celine or Pauline, or I don't know which one it was. It's all in French. But it's books with diary entries and letters from Louis and Zelly Martin. And it's kind of it's a really neat window. There's one from the father's perspective and one from the mother's perspective of how they lived family life. So I would say if you can get those, they're not really in print, so you might have to order them from a strange Russian website like me. But if you can make that risk, I think I have my copy actually in this desk. Hold on. Here it is. The cover fell off.
Oh my gosh.
You can see that there, The Father of the Little Flower. But it's this beautiful, beautiful little book that has all these diary entries and these letters of how they treated their family, how they raised their girls. I don't think there's anything better for Catholic families.
That's awesome.
I mean, who else other than the Holy Family to model your Catholic family after than someone who had like 5 daughters who all went to the convent, and now like out of the parents plus the kids, there are like saints. 6 of them are saints.
Yeah. Especially in the modern day, I don't know of any other Catholic saints that are business owners in like the sense that relates to like anything approaching what a modern business owner might experience. Like he had a business that he ran. He had to do sales. He had to travel for work. He had to make choices about whether to keep the shop open on Sunday. It's like those are all still things that people do now. Yeah. It's a little bit more relevant than a saint who was like, I am in the desert now and I'm going to be here for 40 years, and you can come join me in the deserts and we'll drink water from the rocks. Yes. So it's a bit more rapid fire. Next question. Sorry.
Yeah. Love it. Go.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Bitcoin. Got it. Please just buy some. It's just, I think it would be read more great books and watch way less TV, probably.
Yeah.
Which is actually a great thing to tell the young people of today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch The White Lotus just because everybody is talking about The White Lotus. You can just The summer I turned pretty is not important.
Correct.
It does not matter if you are Team Jeremiah or Team Conrad. You can just read Anna Karenina and get everything you need to know from that
book. That's awesome. What's one final piece of advice you would leave with our audience based on anything we talked about today, including Bitcoin?
I would say communication is the key to everything about community. If it's true in the marriage and the family, and that's probably the most evident, example, because the family is a community. If you don't communicate with your family, then it goes to hell in a handbasket pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's also true in the broader community. If you feel hurt by somebody at your parish and you don't tell them, they don't know that. And then you can't fix it. And that's how rifts form and how there gets to be these little cliques and these different groups and, whatever. If you think that someone is, too good for you, but you've never talked to them, how do you know? If you're assuming that this mom doesn't want her kids to spend time with your kids, but you've not talked to her about it, you have no idea, you know? And it's really uncomfortable to have those conversations, but you have to learn how to have them. And it goes back to the human thing that we were talking about earlier, which is we're so afraid of conflict. It arises these emotions and chemicals in our bodies that are usually meant for like fighting off tigers and, warring tribes, because we have so little real conflict in our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
That we get so anxious and so afraid. It's like you have to learn how to have high stakes, relatively, conversations with people in your community, inside and outside of your family, if you want to have any successful large community. Because otherwise, it's just going to be backbiting and gossiping and wrath and envy and jealousy, because some people are going to make more money than you in the community, and it just gets all tied up. And you just have to know that, and you have to go into it and be ready to talk about it, because otherwise it's just going to end up very poorly.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Love it. Should we pray it up before we exit?
Please. Yes.
All right, let's do it. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you so much for the gift of Ethan. He is just such a joy to be around, to spend time with, to understand what it takes to make a real community, to build up the body of Christ here on earth. And we're grateful that he's been able to share with us all the lessons that he's learned about building communities and joining communities, and the fact that it all takes communication, and it takes being bold and being brave and following you and where you're trying to lead us, if we would only listen. So thank you for our conversation today. We pray that even just one person would walk away from today with a newfound sense of how they can go build or deepen their community that they're already part of. We ask all these things in your sweet, precious, and holy name, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Ethan, if people want to get more Ethan Stueve in their lives, where's the best place for them to go?
You got to go to x.com/Catholic Ethan. You can follow me there. That's where I am most of the time. If you like the podcast, you can find Bropostles anywhere podcasts are found. And if you go to those two places, you're not going to miss anything. So
I love that you're no longer anonymous on X now.
I've found a middle ground. Like my name is Catholic Ethan. My name is just Ethan. I don't have my last name on there, and my photo is a baby photo. It's not a current day picture of me, because too many people, they didn't like what I would say, and they would just like reply with a photo of me and call me ugly. And like for a while, that's funny, but then you do it too many times. It's like, I'm just gonna not, I know how I look. I don't need you to know how I look. I'll take away the temptation. You can't take a picture of a baby and be like, "This, you're ugly," because it's a baby. So
phenomenal.
It's neither here nor there.
Well, you stick with us for a second, Ethan. Thank you so much for being with us, and God bless everybody.